All right. And we're setting up to go live. So give me guys a second. And going live on Instagram too. All right. Give me a little second using some new technology and making sure that everything looks good on both ends. And I don't know if you guys can hear me here on the mic. All right, perfect. We'll give some time for a couple people to join. I started about 5 minutes late. So today we will be talking about, simply because I've been all day for the last 7-8 days talking to clients, friends, family, and everyone is a little bit freaked out. A lot of people have gotten laid off. A lot of people, their income is on pause. So we're going to talk about a couple things. Let me get my notes here. We're going to talk about some of the things that you guys can do to be able to negotiate with your credit cards. We're going to talk about how to handle rent. We're going to talk about how to handle your mortgage payments. We're also going to talk about how to make money during this crisis. So it's not all going to be bad news, because I've had different conversations. I'm planning to do this probably weekly, unless there's a big announcement, then I'll jump back out here if I have to a couple times a week. But for sure, weekly, I'll come up and I'll update different programs that people can sign up to. For those of you that may not know me that well or have never done business with me or are not friends and family, we have a lending company. We do your traditional mortgages for people that are buying. We do commercial lending and we do private lending. We also do investing. By no means am I sitting here trying to be a guru or anything like that. But the reality is I deal with thousands of people's financial situations. So when we're looking at your situation, we're dealing with your credit. A lot of the times we're helping people fix their credit and be able to put them in positions to be able to invest and buy homes and buy the homes that they're living in right now, or refinance and pull money out. And what do you do if you pull that money out? Where do you invest it? All those questions is what we constantly are having conversations with. So being that I've dealt with thousands and thousands of people's financial situations, we're familiar with some of the things that you can do. Also, I'll talk a little bit about today about the history of the economic issues we've had back in 2008, and some of the programs and things that came out that we potentially might be doing all over again, like loan modifications, short sales. So we'll get into a little bit. Whether you rent or you're a homeowner, we'll be talking about things today that can help you out. And then if you're looking to start making money once the opportunities start to come from this, because there will be opportunity, we will also have more information so that you guys can get in the right position to be able to take advantage of the market swings that we're going into right now. So let me get my notes and we'll get the party started, because it's about that time. Let me see here. All right, so here you go. First and foremost, if you are in the middle of a refinance or buying a house, the first couple things that I want to tell you guys is there's some challenges. Obviously, they shut down the cities for non-essential businesses. Appraisals that have not been done are becoming challenging. Some people are considering it essential to the banking institution. Other people are arguing that they're not. Some appraisal companies have canceled appointments. There's people that don't want people coming to their house, strangers that they don't know, to do inspections and to do appraisals. It's become challenging. They have announced if you are doing an appraisal or if you're doing a loan right now, that depending on the type of loan you're doing, they do allow a drive-by appraisal or even a desktop appraisal for conventional loans, for example. They have not announced anything for FHA up until the last moment that I've checked. So talk with whoever you're doing the loan program and find out there what you can possibly be, what options you have if you're stuck. Also, if you're in the middle of the process, they are double and triple checking your income, making sure you're still working, making sure you're still collecting a check. There's a lot of people that have gotten laid off, obviously. If they haven't gotten laid off, they've put on timeout for a couple of weeks. So the bank very, very, very much is going to check at literally the day of closing that you're still, number one, working, and number two, collecting a check. So if they've sent you home and you're in the middle of the loan process, that could potentially be an issue. Rental income. If you're in the middle of doing a loan right now and you collect rents, some lenders, not all lenders, so double check and make sure. You want to be proactive. You don't want to close your eyes and say, oh, I hope things work out and I'm not going to get, busted. You want to actually be proactive, and the people that are helping you out, have these conversations with them so that you plan properly and make adjustments. There are some lenders, not all, and sometimes what happens is a snowball effect. If one of them starts to do it, the other ones start to do it. But if you have rental income and it's offsetting the mortgage payments on those properties, they are not necessarily counting it like they usually do unless you have 6 months reserves for each property. What that means is if your mortgage payment is $2,000 for that investment property, they want to make sure you have $12,000. So they multiply it by 6 in an account that you're not going to use as backup in case things get bad. So double check if you're doing a loan and you have investment properties. Make sure that the bank that you're working with or whoever's helping you pays attention and you don't get caught by surprise if you're planning on that money. All right, so let's get to some of the questions that I've had, and let's get like the hard part out of the way, the fear-based stuff out of the way. There's people that have gotten laid off, and there's people that don't have the money for their next month's rent or their mortgage payment or their car payments, their insurances. I've had over 20 plus conversations with people about this. Number one, first and foremost, I want to tell you guys, don't feel bad. Like, number one, it's not your fault. Number two, the whole world is going through this. So the institutions, the lending institutions, they're not, they're not turning a blind eye to the situation. So they are currently right now talking. Most private institutions are trying to figure out essentially plan Bs. So I already know many of my clients that have been able to talk to their car payments, their creditors, credit card companies, and be able to defer the payments for X amount of months. And each person is handling it differently. Also, keep in mind, we're still in the beginning of this, believe it or not, even though it might feel like it's been a long time because a lot of us are home, or in my case, coming to an empty office. And it feels like we've been in this for a while. But the truth of the matter is, most bank and lending institutions are just trying to figure out how they're going to handle all the backlash of this economic strain that we're going through. So, number one, they're short-staffed. It's not like people had a monster department prepared to deal with this issue. So have a little patience. I've had people say they called and they told them call back in a week or two. We're trying to figure out how we're going to handle this. They're also trying to move people to the correct departments to be able to handle all the applications. something to consider, guys, is that most people are not just going to take a phone call and say, oh, you're going through a tough time. Hey, no problem. We're going to give you a break for 3 months. Usually they'll have some type of pre-screening process. So they'll have an application process. They'll want you to apply. They may want you to produce documentation. So everything is going to be a process, and all that paperwork needs to be, number one, the systems need to be created. They need to be staffed with team to be able to take on the phone calls. I know a couple people that were trying to file now for unemployment and help with food stamps and stuff like that, and they couldn't get through because the system was that backlogged. So keep patient, keep definitely trying, because every day is going to be more and more people. But be patient, because as just like the hospitals, the financial industry was not necessarily prepared for the level of waves of situations that is happening right now. So every day people are getting laid off. Every day are going to expect. So when you are on the phone with them, and if they are starting the process of taking on the applications of what they call forbearance or relief programs, remember to be very specific as to what the terms are. In fact, try to get it in writing. Make sure you're extremely clear that you understand how this works, because there's a lot of people thinking that just because they're pushing their car payment back 2 months, or because they're pushing their mortgage payment in forbearance, that they're not going to have to worry about those payments till later. There are some lending institutions that they might give you a 60 to 90 break, for example, but as soon as those 90 days are up, they're going to ask you to pay all of it up front. Some of them are rolling it back to the back of your loan program, meaning they're going to give you, and if you had 36-month lease, now they're going to go 39 months, and they're rolling those 3 months to the back. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to. So if your cousin or your neighbor was able to accomplish one thing with whoever they have their loans with, or their credit cards, or whatever it might be, that doesn't guarantee that it's going to be the exact same way. Remember, everybody's an independent institution, so they're each going to come up with their own relief plan. So make sure you are very clear as what the payback terms are, when, and exactly how it's going to work, and be mentally prepared and financially prepared with a plan. Because if in 90 days you got to pay back 3 months of your car payment, let's say, and your car payment is $500, that means in 90 days, you got to have $1,500 ready to go. If not, you're going to owe what the next car payment plus $1,500, and then you can get into a situation. Some of us may not have a choice, and that's understandable. You may need a 90-day break, and then you're going to figure it out because you're currently unemployed or whatnot. But the reason why I bring that up is, once you figure out how to be able to bring in some income or borrow money or whatever it is that you're planning to do, make sure that you're prepared to pay it back on the terms that you're agreeing to. So if the forbearance of your payments means you got to pay the difference in X amount of time, be ready and save your money and make sure you're good to go. Some may break it up into, small little chunks for the next 12 months, or there is no cookie cutter agreement across the board. A lot of people are looking to the government to be able to say, hey, everybody stop paying your rent, or everybody stop paying your car payments or whatnot. Realize that the government has some influence. For example, they're not doing evictions right now at the current time, and they're not doing foreclosures for homeowners right now at the current time. That doesn't mean you're not going to have to pay back that money. That means if you're not paying it right now, they're not going to start the process to get you out. So that does give some relief for people that are scared right now to end up in the street. However, at some point, you're going to have to pay that back. So let's talk about the potential of eviction and or foreclosure, because that's what some people are worried about. If this gets crazy like it did in 2008 and the court systems get flooded with cases of foreclosures or evictions, again, it's all about manpower, efficiency of processes and systems, and it could take a while. So that's not to mentioning that's not even taking into consideration you having a defense. So if you get an attorney or whatnot, so the point I'm trying to make is no one is going to end up in the street overnight. So that is something to kind of put your mind at ease and let you know that you got time to figure this thing out. Keep in mind that depending on who you're renting from, there's a lot of people that depend on that rent check as their income as well, especially if they've been laid off. In fact, I know more than a handful of people who are currently not making any money at their job right now because either they were self-employed and their business has come to a standstill or they were laid off. However, they have rental income coming in, and that is going to be the only income that they are depending on. So with that being said, it's very easy to say, screw it, I'm not going to pay rent, but realize that there are certain people that investment property that they have is the only form of income for them to survive during this process as well. So take into consideration, have conversations with whoever your landlord is, have conversations with whoever your lender is, and work it out. Let's try to figure this out together and work together as a community and helping each other out. Because of the short staff situations across the board, across the nation, because there's truly people that really need this, all these programs that we're talking about, if you truly don't need it, if you're truly not in an economic bind, don't like bog down the system by applying and putting in your situation where the truth is you're still making money, you're still able to afford what you originally agreed on. So why are you going to put in a forbearance application, or why are you going to put yourself in that situation where all you're doing is you're slowing down the process for someone else who does really need it? So this isn't a freebie, get out of jail card. Oh, I get to be able to miss a couple payments, take a vacation. That's not what this is for. This is truly for the people out there that aren't working right now. So, keep that in mind. I mean, I think the biggest thing that we're taking away and some of the conversations that I'm having is like, now more than ever, we need to pull together as a community. It reminds me of 9/11, when we felt we were under attack, and I saw kind of like an overall vibe, an overall energy of everyone kind of coming together as a community and standing together and saying we're going to get through this and making sure we were protected. And right now, because of fear, and I completely understand, a lot of people have been I need to take care of me and mines. And, that's what you see with the whole toilet paper drama. Take a second, you know what I mean? Like, we are all in this together. And sure, I understand the necessity to take care of mine and me and make sure that I'm okay. But also, my cousin, my neighbor, everyone's in this together as well. So if we can pull together and be considerate and let the people that need it the most go first and hold on, if we can hold on, that helps and alleviates the problem. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. Don't feel the pressure. Negotiate, get on the phone, have conversations, have patience, because they might tell you we're still in the works, call back in a couple of weeks. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Here's what I will tell you. Back in 2008, most of us were affected the same way. And people went into foreclosures, and people had to do short sales because their property values dropped, and they had to sell the property because it was upside down and they couldn't afford it anymore because, they lost their jobs or whatnot. that's not the like the nail in the coffin. Like so many people, including myself, that were affected back then have come back to have 700 credit scores, have come back to own properties, have come back to get back on their feet. And the reason why I want to share that with you is don't let a moment of hard times scare us to think that our life is over and that we're never going to get past this and that everything we worked for, like attachment is such a dangerous thing. Attachment makes us feel like this is the deepest, darkest thing and I'm never going to get out of it. And I worked so hard to get here and now I got to start all over. Take what I'm telling you, that not just myself and not just a lot of my clients and a lot of my friends and my family, but most of the nation got through the 9/11 situation, got through the 2008 situation, and we recovered. If you want to get technical, I have people that go through bankruptcy and a year later, they got 700 credit scores again. They've rebuilt their credit. So there is definitely opportunity in our systems to be able to get back on your feet and get back on your feet fast. It doesn't take 7 years. It's not going to be like a black shadow. And just like people were forgiving short sales in your credit situation after that era, people will understand this era. 2020 will never be forgotten. And when you go apply for things next year or however long this takes, and you have a dent in your story, right? You have a dent in your credit. They're not going to be insensitive to that. They're going to remember that the whole world was going through this. They're not going to hold these moments against you because our history has shown us that there is credit guidelines that will accept, an explanation, a letter of explanation. We do loans all the time with letters of explanations, and worldwide crisis or nationwide crisis, or for example, hurricane disasters here in Miami, we're used to filing for forbearance during a hurricane if there's a disaster relief program. And those are explanations that creditors and lenders will overlook, especially if you've shown a history after the fact of getting back on your feet and going back to paying things on time and rebuilding your credit. You will be able to rebuild your credit. There's credit cards out there that you can, what they call secured credit cards, that you can pay, let's say $500, and they keep it there kind of like a deposit, and they give you a credit card for $500 limit, and you use that. You pay your gas, you pay it off, and as you start to slowly build your credit again, then they raise your limit, then eventually they give you that money back. There's a lot of different programs that will be able to rebuild if you're currently right now facing the reality of having to choose to pay for just the necessities. So have hope. This is going to be something that I have full confidence that creditors are going to understand, and they're going to have guidelines that give you a chance in the future, and they're not going to hold this moment in time against you. So do what you got to do right now to be smart. I mean, the reality is right now we should only be worrying about paying shelter, food, and anything that's survival, transportation, and medical. And if shelter right now needs to take a hit, get on the phone and negotiate that. If you're self-employed, there is loan programs coming out. Be patient as well. They are just starting to roll out. The SBA, which is basically the government's small business department, is rolling out website that you can apply and loan programs that is going to be able to help you out if you've been in business for a year or plus. If you need more information, shoot me a DM and I'll be happy to help you with that. Remember that they did push back for everybody the income tax deadline, but they haven't pushed back the deadline for self-employed people to renew their corporations just yet. So if you have a corporation, May 1st is still the deadline. I know this craziness might distract us, but you still got to renew your corporation. So that deadline is still intact. Um, if you're self-employed, obviously being responsible with your team and trying to get work done, trying to make sure everybody still gets paid, but doing it in a safe way. That's been a challenge for all of us. So I understand. I understand what you're going through, and it can be done. And thank God, in this world of technology where we can do a lot of this stuff virtually, it's helping us continue to stay the course and keep money coming in and keep paying our people. Um, let me see. The old school history, loan modifications, that as of right now, I have not heard anything yet. Loan modifications means where they renegotiate terms to what you originally spoke about. That usually takes some time for it to come out. We might see that depending on how bad the economy gets from this situation, and you'll be able to renegotiate your terms, and they basically, it's better for them to renegotiate terms and make some money than to make no money. Remember, it costs them to repo and foreclose. They have a legal process, and they need resources and a team to be able to execute those things. So trust me, they much rather renegotiate and get back into payment terms than to go through foreclosure and repo. Some people think like, oh, they just want to take what I have. Trust me, that's not in their best interest. The lending institutions are in the business of lending money. So keep that in mind and use that to your advantage when you're negotiating. And then there is going to be opportunity. There is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. There's going to be, if the market turns and the real estate does drop, and not just real estate. I mean, right now, the stock market is low. So getting with the people that know how these different economies work. I mean, I was listening to someone that's well versed in the oil industry, and right now everything is low right now. Everything is cheap. So find out who's in your network. Find out who do you know, and start having a conversation with them, because what goes down comes back up, and what goes up comes down. There's different cycles for different reasons. This is an uncontrollable reason, as far as it's not something that can be blamed on the bank or necessarily a specific institution. Like maybe in 2008, a lot of us felt it was the banking institution's fault. This is obviously, a little different, but it's still going to create the opportunities and market swings. So there's a lot of things moving towards the digital, virtual, online world. There's a lot of people making a lot of money there. There's going to be a lot of people making money in the stock market and real estate. If the economy crashes because people lose their jobs and they're not able to afford things will start to be cheaper. There's a couple things to consider. You want to be as liquid as you can right now. So if you can still refinance, if you own a home, and cash out and be ready for these opportunities, that might be something you want to consider. A lot of people are thinking, oh, I want to wait till the rates drop to the twos. That's another misconception. They think right now the rates are super low. It's kind of the opposite. The rates are actually a lot higher because the banks feel that there is going to be, some fear in the market. They feel that there's going to be a lot of people defaulting on their payments. So if they're going to take the risk and lend money right now, they're going to lend it essentially, with taxing, with a little bit of a premium on there if they're going to take the risk. So rates are actually a little higher, but that's not the way you should look at the possible opportunities. Number one, first and foremost, if you need backup, if you need to have a cushion in case your industry and your job takes a hit. Who cares what the rate is right now? Like, if you don't have any savings and this is your only option, go liquid. Do whatever you got to do to sell whatever you got to sell, and excuse me, and or cash out on a refinance and have the money on your side to protect yourself, and then you can always pay back the money. If you, let's say, took it out of a line of credit, or if you refinanced and you decide you didn't put it in an investment and you don't need it and things go back to normal, then you can always pay it towards your principal again. Sure, you might have to end up paying an extra $100 a month because you took it out or whatever the numbers come out, but it's better to be safe than sorry. If you have the opportunity to take advantage of these market swings, talk to the people in your network, like I was saying, figure out who has an expertise, partner with them, have them explain to you what they're waiting for. Tomorrow at 1:00, me and my partner, if you guys haven't been listening to our podcast, Shut Up and Invest, we are going to be doing a live just like this, all about how to take advantage of the real estate market when things start to be affected. Right now, things are kind of like on hold. You're not seeing prices drop. You're not seeing a ripple effect just yet. We'll talk about this tomorrow at 1:00. So make sure you follow us on Facebook, Shut Up and Invest. We have a Facebook group. We'll be doing a live there. You can check out our podcast, and we're giving away free training on how you can take advantage and position yourself. Pick up a rental property right now. Pick up a good opportunity at a cheap discounted price properties. That looks like it's what we're going to be facing when this is all said and done. So there is ways to really take advantage. If you have someone that's really good in the stock market and they've been making money for years, get with them. That's not my area of expertise. My personal opinion right now, stocks took a major hit, and real estate, I know it's what I've done all my life, and I feel like I can control it. I can't control the shares for Live Nation, for example, or Cracker Barrel. Those are completely out of my control. I'm not in those boardrooms. I've had a lot of my clients lose $20, $30, $40,000 in their retirement accounts right now. And as a real estate investor, my personal opinion is I can control that. If somebody can't pay me rent right now, I can work something out. I can control that. Eventually, I can get them out if they don't ever end up paying, and I can put somebody else that does. 9 out of 10 times, it ends up working out in the end. Whereas in the stock market, that's just something that I have no control of. So I'm just not comfortable playing in that world. That's the reason why I've never... I got a little bit of money in there to just kind of dibble and dabble and learn and play, but definitely not anything that would hurt if tomorrow was all gone. Just whatever, $3,000-$4,000, no big deal in the stock market. And if it's works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's not what I'm banking my financial freedom and my retirement on. My point is, there's people moving to the online world and making money there. There's people positioning themselves in real estate. In this last economic swing, a lot of people made a lot of money, even though most of the people were freaking out. So think about that. While everyone's freaking out, the guys that end up on top are positioning themselves, and they're studying, and they're partnering, and they're working together to attack it and really make some true wealth and really get positioned for financial freedom. This is another opportunity. So I kind of want to end it there. And like I said, weekly I'll come on. This was kind of like the first one, and I wanted to touch on a lot of subjects. But every week we'll come on and we'll talk about whatever the latest and greatest is, whatever I'm seeing happen. But right now, there is going to be opportunity. And that's something that I know it's tough for some of us who maybe are right now not knowing where our next check is coming from. But in talking with someone in your network that understands the opportunity, that might be the next career move for you. That might be somewhere where you can come in and help. Because if you got to do whatever it takes to survive and you're hungry and you're ready to work, trust me, there's going to be opportunity out there for the people that are ready to hustle, for the people that are ready to make moves. And you don't always need money to be able to position yourself. You just need to be able to tag team with the right people, and sometimes putting in that sweat equity can help you come out on top. So we'll be talking about it tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Join us. Shut Up and Invest is on Facebook as a group. Join the group. Follow the page. I'll be announcing it in the morning too as well. And we're going to basically start talking about free training on how you can make money throughout this craziness with real estate if you understand how it works and you make the right moves. So if you're interested, DM me and follow us there. If you guys got more questions, if you guys need links to the SBA, to any kind of disaster relief situations, contact me. I'm here to help you guys out, walk you through it. I'll do the research. I mean, we're doing it for so many of our clients. So anything that you're worried about, you're scared of, any issues you have, let me know. We have a very large network of people. So if I don't know, or if I can't necessarily help you, there will be someone in my network that can. Let's stay positive. Let's know that every challenge that we've had, we've all made it through so far. So this is just going to be another one. This is going to test our character. This is going to test our mindset, and we're going to come out better for this. I mean, I already see the positive of people realizing, what matters in life. And even though money, which is the point of, what we've been talking about on this live, is a big deal, to survive, it's not the deal. You know what I mean? It's not life. So I think what we're going to start to really understand is what really matters, and anything that I can do to help you guys out. So hopefully you could take something from this live, and every week join us. They'll be shorter, they'll be sweeter, and throughout the week, just shoot me questions and we'll cover it. All right, guys, appreciate you, and stay safe out there.